Demetrius, thank you so much for the contribution. I've had this conversation with multiple women in different countries, students to professionals. They say single mothers are a detriment to society.
They can be.
Yeah.
They can. I don't disagree. If you don't mind me hopping on that,
go ahead, bro.
I think, like I said, I got lucky. With my mother and having a strong family and just having her background. But candidly speaking, first of all, having just one parent and one perspective is the detriment of society because you're not able to see both sides. So let's make sure we don't just put it as a single mother. It's a single parent. Single parents are a detriment to society because it breaks off perspective. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot of stuff where it's not a good look because just with where we're going in society, like it's a weird spot, right? So we're talking about female independence, but a lot of times, single mothers take just being single mothers as independence when in all actuality they're needy as fuck. And I think there's a lot more of those single mothers than there are the ones who are holding it down by themselves. And I think, unfortunately, those single mothers kind of, tell the tale. And that's the real situation. A lot of single moms, man, I've seen it. Like, I remember used to growing up, and divorce started really becoming heavy as we got older. You know what I mean? I think divorce really, really hit while we were, through the 80s and the 90s. Like that's when divorce was real. And I would just see like my boys' parents and even like little chicks I was messing with, and like their moms was neat. Like their moms always had to have a dude around. And it's like they couldn't stand on their own too without that. And so if you have that as an example, absolutely that's a detriment to society because you're seeing somebody who's supposed to be a provider that's constantly in need of somebody else in order to be a provider. So what type of mentality is going to be, built from that type of experience?
Right. I know. I think it's a fantastic point, bro. The stats are the stats that single fathers do better than single mothers.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, I think I could be biased because, I have actually I put a post up not too long ago, and it's my pops, saying for Thanksgiving, this is who I'm grateful for. In fact of the matter is, bro, if my moms, like, let's say like after they got divorced and I went with my moms, I would have been fucked up. I mean, I'm just going to say that just straight out, like no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? But like, I would have been a tumultuous young person. I would have been angry, right? I would have had temper, right? Like I would have been confused, you know what I'm saying? And, but I think that there's a couple of things happening with that. I think, we're getting to the point of our history right now where people are really starting to question the path that has been laid out for us. So now that we've questioning the path, you got to understand that we're humans. We're humans now as we were humans 30 years ago. But because of the information age, we now have the opportunity and availability to really question the path that's set out in front of me. Our parents and our parents' parents did not. They were given paths and they stuck to that path. And what had happened is you begin to see some people that become ultimately unhappy with the paths that they've chosen. I firmly believe that there's components of people that are not designed or destined to be mothers. I think that there's some people that are not designed and destined to be fathers. I think if you get the roll of the die where you get both that were destined, that it's a part of their being and their soul, and they'll lay down everything to make sure that you develop into a decent person in society. Like you were privileged, like you were blessed, like you have, right, and they have an environment capable for you, right? Like, and they enable that environment, they enable that security. Like, you have the world is your oyster. But we see young people that have all that and they still end up being shitty people. Wait, hold up. Let me just PTRMB. Thank you for the $70 czar. I'm not I'm not sure what that is, bro. But thank you for the 70 czar super chat. Appreciate the love. Czar, Z-A-R. Oh, he said Mandia? I've never heard of that country. Being a crappy parent, single or not, or a person is not exclusive to a particular gender. If you're a bad person raised poorly, don't matter what the gender is, experience play a role. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Experiences play a role. So there's a component of them being kind of incapable or even wanting to do it, even though that they've made that decision to have that child. But then also too, specifically to raising a young man, I do think that a woman has to, like, there has to be a degree of male thought or male sponsorship or male mentorship in order to help mold a man into what a man should be or is. Because I feel like the default from a feminine woman, it doesn't do a young man justice. Sean, I don't know if you have a comment on that.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think it also takes the ability to be not fucking selfish, right? So how do you humble yourself and say, I don't know the answers, so I'm not going to pretend to know the answers.
Right.
And I think that sometimes you see somebody who won't take the time to like sit back and just say, hey, you know what? I'm not sure. I'm either going to ask or I'm not going to comment and put something so make a statement that's so in stone, like you know what I mean? Like I feel like for instance, like even with a single mother, you know, if you don't understand something that a young man is going through, then don't comment on it as if you do. You know, take that honest approach with your child. And I honestly, I'm not sure. Like, let's figure out how to get you. You know, let me think of somebody that you could talk to about that. A lot of moms won't do that because they want to, or dads or whoever, the individuals don't want to humble themselves to say, hey, you know, I don't know what I don't know, and I may need some help or some guidance. So I think that's a major component of it. Like, yeah.
No, that's super real. It's super real, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I was also blessed that my pops is a teacher, right? So like, you know, he would talk, he would take the time, because there's things, you know, I was a very cognizant young man. I was a very cognizant young boy, but I think like it was enhanced by my pops being able to share experiences in a way that I was able to grasp because he took the time. So that time is a major component. So okay. Sarah says, I was raised by a Vietnam vet who came back from the war with an opioid addiction. This was grandpa. He was not the best dad to my dad, but he was a personal Superman. His rearing was better than my mom's. It's real.
Yeah. There was this show called The Affair, and it was an interesting concept that they came up on there. And again, it's not real, but it was an interesting concept that they spoke about. And it was like the lining of trauma, right? So like trauma is passed down from generation to generation. And often you have the ability to either succumb to the trauma or fight against it.
Yeah.
Like you're born with that trait, and whatever trait like rises above is the one that is going to shape the person. So if you're resilient and you fight against trauma, then despite your bad circumstances, you're able to break through and make stuff happen.
Right.
I think that also is something that could be considered is that a lot of people, just because you have a bad upbringing and a bad experience personally doesn't mean that you can't change or alter your energy, or how you display, or how you govern or teach people differently. It doesn't mean you can't be in a different, you can't create your own life or create your own teachings.
Yeah.
I think that's hard, right? Just like it's hard to go to the gym if you're prone to get fat. You know what I mean? Like you've got to work hard to get a different result, and some people aren't willing to put in the time to get that result.
Quick pause. Listen, did you guys know that I had a Patreon page? What's Patreon, you say? Patreon is a fantastic service that gives content creators like myself an additional way for subs and viewers like yourself to be able to support the channel so I can continue to provide high quality content for you. Listen, as you guys may or may not know, the type of content that I do here on YouTube receives scrutiny and might become demonetized. So Patreon is a fantastic service that I like to use to provide additional benefits for those that sign up for the features that I am offering. Click on the link down in the description box down below and go see all of the things that I'm offering. Everything from behind the scenes to extra content, dozens of hours of content. All right, now let's move on with this video.
Right. No, some people are not willing. I try to stay cup half full, in a sense that I think, like, with the proper amount of mentorship, you can make it rain true. Like the one analogy that analogous situation that I think about is like, you if you look at like stand-up comedians, and I know you dabbled in that and shit. But like a Kevin Hart, I saw Kevin Hart like way back in like 2005 at the undergrad that I went to, and he was hilarious up on stage. So, but when did Kevin Hart really blow? Right?
Shit. Yeah, it's a while.
Years later, right? So like he put an effort and a grind in to become the #1 comedian through box office, revenue sales, in a very fucking long time. It might be ever. But I say all that to say, just to compliment your point, bro. It's an effort thing. Only some are prepared for and ready to put it up in a way that makes the most sense for what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Just real quick, $70, excuse me, not dollar, 70 ZAR super chat. Again, I don't know how much money that is. Could be a penny, could be 1,000 pennies. I'm not sure, but thank you.
Oh my God.
We don't take. Huh? You want to read it, bro? Go ahead. You read one. Go ahead, bro. I've been reading all of them. You read it.
Got to. We don't take time in improving ourselves and being whole people before having kids, which is our downfall. Being good, healthy, passionate, unselfish, loving, hardworking. Yo, whoever this guy is from Mandia, yo, that right there touches my heart, because, man, I'm not even going to go into it like that, but I couldn't agree with you more.
Right.
Everybody wants to have a kid because society says have a kid.
Right.
But they're not ready for a kid. They're not financially ready. They're not mentally ready. They're not unselfish. They're not willing to stop what they're doing to sacrifice for the improvement and creating the pathway for somebody that is, underneath your responsibility at this point. They're not willing to do that.
Right.
And it is a downfall, because you have all these parents who still want to do what the fuck they want to do, right? That have the children, that ignore the children, that take pictures with the children. But when it comes to actually building a future or building something that is useful for the kid, they can't do it because they can't sacrifice and they can't put that kid before themselves. Point right there, man, is one of the biggest things that I believe in. And candidly, I wasn't ready to have a kid. Not necessarily because I wasn't unselfish. I was selfish, but I think how I was raised, it's just natural to be like, okay, well, now that you have a kid, all X, Y, Z has to go away. I didn't plan for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have wanted to plan for that. And, you know, it's a difference when you're shooting up the club with like, yes, this is what I want. I want a child. I want to create life. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a difference. But I think naturally, you know, I was able to sacrifice. I'm not perfect or anything like that with it, but you know, when it comes to being unselfish and doing what's, I get that, and I think that people just they don't do that. They don't do that. Like it's not
Right.
it's not a natural. They just want to push around the baby carriages and look cool with the babies at brunch, sipping on martinis and all the rest of it. But the reality is, you aren't ready for that kid. You
Right.
aren't, because you if you're ready for a kid, you're not complaining. Oh my God, like I had the kid all day, like I need time. No,
Right.
that's what having a kid is for. Like what is this nonsense? You know how many moms I've heard? You know how many moms I've heard? Yeah. You know how many moms or parents I've heard where they'll be like, "Ah, I've had the kid all day long. Like, ah," and it's like,
They
yeah,
upset.
because it's your kid.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your life has changed. No,
Your life is changing.
yeah, I want you to go, like, don't apologize for shit like that, bro, because I feel like you got to just go in, you know what I mean? Like, you got to say it in a way that's realistic, you know? And then you know, I have a outside looking in mentality. You have a on the inside, so you see it from a different perspective. But like, to my point earlier, and I think our parents and our parents' parents were more subjected to this, but it's following a path, right? Like following a path, not looking outside of what actually you want to do, right? Like, is marriage good for me? Like, does my personality sit within marriage, right? Are kids good for me? Does my personality sit within kids? Is college good for me? Does my personality sit within, you know, so now we have the access to be able to think about new ways of living. But like, you know, there's a lot that have been put in the position that never wanted to be there. And I think like when you see like comments like we had earlier, like, you know, my mom is not that good, or like earlier when I saw that mother slap that young girl, you know, I gotta go back to, this was not you. This is not what you should be doing. You don't have that maternal instinct, right? Like it's not within you. It's just not within you. It was left out. I mean, it's damn near like a sickness, because, you know, we're put here to procreate at some stretch of the imagination. So you may not have that thing. Now you also touched on something that I think is very important as well, which is, you know, at the point that it happened, you buckled down, you hunkered down, and you got prepared, and you got ready, and you made some life changes. You made some life shifts, you know? So, and that's important as well. There's a lot of dudes, there's a lot of black men out there that don't make that life shift, that don't make that change, and they can living as is. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we need more examples like that. You know, more clear and readily available examples like that. You know, which is part of why like, I'm doing this channel shit, bro. Is to give a different perspective from a whole new lens. You know, from dudes that have done well, have done relatively well. But we make the time in order to be able to enhance the conversation. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's definitely something that, you know, it's an honor to be a part of, to even join it, because like at the end of the day, it's perspective. And I think that the more times we hear perspective, right? Like even when you look at like, and this is kind of way off the topic, but even when you look at just the hood, right? And they only look at like, you know, athletes, drug dealers, rapping is the way to be successful. When, you know, if they hear some other perspective on a constant basis and they have access to it, you know, it could change up with how they go about their lives. You know, one of the things I always just say is like, yo, it's so funny because like, you know, we do relatively well, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like we still enjoy the same things that, you know, some of these other people do as well, that they glamorize or want to be like. Like, you can still have some of the things that you want. It's just, you know, levels to it. And you know, if you understand that glory per se still exists outside of your own purview, then I don't know. It's
Right.
just something to Jesus. Yeah.
So Pip Pip Cheerio says, anyway, if you're a woman past 25 and you still look at babies, kids with a slight disgust, then you should probably never have kids. LOL. Some women will never have that maternal instinct. Yeah. Some may not. PTR says, how important is a 2-income household nowadays?
It's very important, I think.
Yeah.
I personally think it's very important. I think that at the end of the day,